Welcome to Garner
Welcome
Growth.
to Garner. Welcome to Garner Growth.
What's up, fam? Welcome to Garner Growth. I'm your host, Courtney Garner, and today we're going to talk about 5 secrets to reprogramming the subconscious mind. And whether you know it or not, right now you are being programmed. Social media uses these programs that we're going to talk about later on how to create algorithms, how to create triggers for you to behave a certain way. And repetitive behaviors create habits, create beliefs. And if you can harness that and use it for yourself, then you can use it to overcome these blockages that you have to doing things that you know you're capable of, but you just haven't been able to get it done. And that not being able to get it done all comes down to the way that you think and your mindset. And I know this because I go through this all the time, and I'm continuously finding ways to overcome my mindset around certain things and seeing where I want to go, and then getting my mind and my thoughts to a place where not only I believe I can do it, but I can visualize myself, I can see myself doing it, and then it makes it so much easier to execute. And so today's episode, we're really going to outline 5 things that you can use to harness your own programming, and then also not be so susceptible to being programmed. That's so empowering for you not to be so easily programmed to compulsive buying, to joining, bandwagoning on certain beliefs, getting fear mongered into believing things that are now have you in stress mode all the time, which is going to hinder your creativity. It's going to change your decision making. So programming really is like the foundation of all of our function. And like I talked about in the episode about overthinking, and actually the last episode about dysfunctional thinking leads to dysfunctional like operation, like actions. The things that you do are like out of whack, or they're not in alignment with who you are, and they're not in alignment with what you want to do, and you just feel off, or you feel frustrated, or just depressed. And so when you take back your ability to be the master of your own mind, not only are you now being a conscious creator, being somebody who's awake to life and is feeling it and is doing it, not somebody who's kind of just being taken for the ride and subconsciously or like in sleep mode, just automatically following cues that somebody else, other media is giving you. So it's really a way to be empowered. And if you feel in any way disempowered, if you feel stagnant, you're stuck somewhere, and you want to know how to get to where you need to go to feel fulfilled, then this is it. All right. So let's get into it. So our behaviors, our thought patterns are constantly being influenced. We have a whole world of influencer marketing now. And influencer marketing is built off of the idea and the understanding that people are influenced by other people. And with repetitive things, which we call trends, you can influence the masses to do what you want, to buy what you want, to think how you want. And there is a professor at Stanford. No, it's not Andrew Huberman. It's another one called BJ Fogg. And he did some studies around human behavior, but using computers. So they studied how computers, so let's say like Facebook, like buttons, how those things were used to influence and predict, and then also program, so decide people's behaviors. So it's population control. I mean, it's really exciting stuff. And our brains are made that way. Your brains are like this hard drive. It's not completely blank, but it comes able to be programmed. It comes with these slots that you can fill with information, and it wants to be filled with information. Our brain is plastic, and plastic means that it is constantly shifting. My brain, when I'm learning to play piano, looks different from my brain who is learning to play tennis, different from my brain who is not doing anything creative, but maybe just going to work every day, going the same route every day. Your brain looks different, but the capability of that brain, the potential of that brain is to do so much more, so much more. And that so much more is probably what's deeply seated in you that itching, that desire, that wanting of something more, or just that sense. Like, I always had this sense that when we were younger, growing up in poverty, just, poor as hell, that there was something more to life. Like, I just knew it. And it wasn't just from what I saw on TV and saw other people doing. I just knew that there was something in me and something growing that was going to lead me to different circumstances. And I always anchored myself to that feeling, to that knowing, and I always followed it. And I mean, it's still there. It's still guiding me and leading me into bigger and better things. And that's why I prioritize go. That's why I prioritize growth, because that is the purpose of us being here. We're constantly here to change, to grow, to do new things, new challenges, and develop, evolve. And nothing makes you evolve more than challenges, than experiencing challenges, not just watching them or being an observer, a passive participator in them, but going through them yourself and finding ways to overcome them. Overcoming is great. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about deliberately developing our brains, deliberately programming our minds so that we can do the things that we want to do, not the things that everybody else wants us to do or that companies want us to do in order to get profit from us. Because the number one commodity in this world is your attention. I mean, I'm going to get paid from your attention, right? You monetize any channel on YouTube, we're getting paid for your attention. So you better make sure that this is worth it. You make sure that you're getting something out of you giving your attention. It's really an exchange. I need to stop making those mouth sounds in the mic because then I have to edit them out. I don't have to, but I like to. So let's talk about first the difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is daily thinking, problem solving, what you would assume is your conscious mind. It is the thoughts and ideas that you're thinking as you're awake. It's the decisions that you make that are based off of your own judgments. And they're rooted in your subconscious. So it's like the subconscious mind is the hard drive where it's all the information is located there and stored there and also programmed there. But then your conscious mind is like your RAM. I don't know if you know computers like that, but it is the active memory. And it's the one that can drain your energy when you're using a lot of it or it's requiring a lot. So imagine when you're learning something in school and you start to get tired of listening, tired of learning. It's like brain overload. I don't want to learn nothing else. And we do have like a certain window, like usually around 90 minutes of active learning before you start to just in one ear, out the other. That's the conscious mind. It's the RAM, the active memory working. And the subconscious would be the hard drive. So you can go to sleep and program stuff into your subconscious. And we often do, because imagine you go to sleep watching a video, you go to sleep with these commercials running. You could wake up and you want a Pop Tart. And it's like, I don't usually like eat Pop Tarts like that, but I want a Pop Tart. Meanwhile, all last night you fell asleep with the TV on and there was running Pop Tart commercials. And so that's subconscious programming. So making it a habit of falling asleep to TV is subjecting yourself to whatever they want to put on the TV. You know that, right? So now that you know that, you could say, I want to go to sleep to this. I want to go to sleep to um, binaural beats, to healing frequencies. I want to go sleep to this documentary because I want this kind of information in my head. You can go to sleep with music in your head. So everything that you learn in this podcast or the information that you take in, you can flip it to now be a tool for you instead of you being the tool. I really need to take off this screen lock feature real quick. Settings, never, which means my battery's gonna drain. Okay, because this is where my outline is. Stop it. There you go. And when it comes to making new habits in the mind, these are patterns that we're working with. Pattern is something that's repeated over and over and over. And so if you want to undo a pattern or you want to override a pattern, which is really what we're doing, you want to be frequent. You got to do some repetitively over and over and over. And that's the effort that we have to put in that usually doesn't get done, or the effort that we think makes it a lot of work. but there was repetition to get the programming into your head. But because it was subconscious, or it was just you not deciding it, it was just automatically taken in, automatically accepted, then you don't feel like it was work because you didn't have to do any work to do it. And so knowing that, you can change that and make that tool for yourself. So how can you have things be automatically programmed for you without you putting in so much effort? It doesn't have to be meditating 5 times a day. It can be something that's really simple but frequent, and you can set yourself up, whether it's visual cues, audio cues. And I'm going to give you an example. There was a time where I didn't like my phone to be, I don't like to be bothered. So my phone would ring and it would be my sister, because me and my sister talk pretty often, pretty frequently. So her ringtone was like everybody else's ringtone. So when I hear the phone ring, I'm like, I get annoyed. And so I'm like, I don't want to be annoyed when my sister calls me, because that's what was happening. And so I changed her ringtone to pianos. And it was this, I can't tell you which one it was. It was a really nice, gentle piano. So now when she calls, it's do 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 do. It sounds nice, and that changed my reaction to when she calls me. And so I'm happy to hear the phone call from my sister, and I already know it's her based on the ringtone. And I do that with a lot of people. If I'm dating somebody, I have a special text tone and ringtone for them so that I know it's them, and I know whether or not I want to ignore it. So usually I'm not going to ignore it because I do want to talk to them. But I choose specifically the kind of ringtone that I want. If I like that person, I'm going to pick a pleasant ringtone. And that's just, for a specific day. So, anyways, stop doing that. So, that's a way that I made a very easy cue to change my reaction to something, and also program in more pleasure into my phone interactions. And so I know who's calling, and I already know that it's a good connection. It's not a connection that's going to waste my time. So let's talk about Professor behavioral psychologist BJ Fogg at Stanford University. A lot of his students actually ended up working for Google, Facebook, and one thing they studied is the like button. So the like button was something that really changed Facebook, and what it did was worked with the dopamine reward system in our brains. It pretty much microdose dopamine, and we get addicted to it. We start to like it and we start to seek it. So there's a 3-part system that happens with these kind of computer programming, and the programming is working on humans' behavior. So this is similar to the Pavlov Bell study, which you can read about separately. I'm not going to go deep into that one. It's really like a classic study about human behavior. Motivation is one, ability, and trigger. So those are the 3 areas of the cycle or the process of behavior that they studied. And motivation has 3 parts, and it has a kind of like a negative, positive side, or one that is desirable and less desirable. So we have sensation. Sensation is pleasure or pain. Pleasure is something that we usually go towards, we desire. Pain is something that we usually avoid. Anticipation is the second one. Anticipation is either hope or fear. You look forward to having more likes and views. You look forward to getting a text from the person that you like. You fear rejection. You fear not being seen. You fear not being accepted. You fear not being recognized. Third is belonging, acceptance or rejection. I already kind of touched on that in the last one because I'm ahead of myself. But when it comes to belonging, we either are being rejected or we are being accepted. And of course, we are going to go towards acceptance and then avoid rejection. And the like button and those kinds of social cues, you can already see how you're affected by that, where it's like, okay, I want more of this and I want less of that. But subconsciously, it's it's tied into those emotions of fear, rejection, of hope of being accepted, pleasure and pain. And we're always going to want to go towards more pleasure, right? So motivation is the first part. Second part is ability. How easy is it for me or people to execute this action, this behavior that I want them to do? How accessible is it? So how many clicks is it to get for you to buy me? How many clicks is it for you to buy this thing? How long is the form for you to check out? That's where automatic checkout comes in. That's where autofill comes in. That's where your PayPal button comes in. It shortens the process to get from the queue of you might want this, you do want this, to okay, how can I get it? And so it's also programming in instant gratification. And the more instant you can give somebody their gratification, then the shorter the process and the more accessible that behavior is. So you want more access, less roadblocks. And then we have a trigger. So a trigger is what caused you to even think about this? What put this idea in your head? It could be in a lot of the notifications. That's what it comes down to, is notifications. You got a message from this person. You got a poke. Pokes used to get me all the time because I'm like, I know I didn't poke nobody. Like, I haven't poked anybody in years. Why am I getting poke notifications? I don't know if they still do that because I don't really use the app, but that was something I remember for a while. I was getting a lot of notifications. This person poked you. And you're like, why does this person poke me? Who poked me? So you go look, and now you're on the app. Now you're looking at videos, which are auto scrolling. So now the access or the ability to stay on the app is easier because it's auto scrolling. You don't have to think to pick next. You don't have to think to say whether or not I want to see another video. It's already going for you. So a lot of the triggers could be call to action, auto scrolling, visual cues, or pain points. Pain points could be, do you suffer from, you haven't been on here in a while. This person misses you. You haven't posted in a while, right? It's like, yo, you're needed over here. And that makes you want to go like over where you might be seen. If you need attention in the moment in your life, or you feel unseen and you get a cue or a notification like, you haven't posted in a while, you might be triggered to post. And then now you're getting likes from that post, you're getting comments from that post, you're getting views. And now your reward system has been hijacked and they got you. And what are we selling at the end of the day? We're selling attention. So now you've entered the marketplace of attention where you can stay in there as long as they can keep you, you'll stay in there. And all these things, the ability, the triggers, um, the motivation, all those things make it easier for you to get there and then stay. And that's really the point. All right. So now you know how the most common programs work. You know, this is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. They all work similarly. We can think about how you can use that on yourself for your own programming. So let's go back to motivations. Our motivations would be pleasure and pain. So let's say you have this habit that you want to change. One of the 5 things that I'm going to talk about later on is focusing on what you want to do and not focusing on stopping a behavior. Because focusing on stopping this, I don't want to smoke. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to smoke. You are constantly thinking about smoking and your habit of smoking. If you change that to, I want to breathe better. I want to breathe better. I want to sing better. I want to sing better. You're going to be focusing on how can you sing better? And you're going to recognize that smoking is not the habit that's going to help you sing better. And you'll recognize that through pain and pleasure, because you get pleasure from when you can sing clearly, when your voice comes out. And, this is just an example. Before we get into the 5 secrets to programming your subconscious mind, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Green Body Wellness. Green Body Wellness makes all natural skincare products, wellness products, inspired by Mother Nature and raw resources from Africa. So if you want to have healthy skin, not just beautiful skin, because beauty is health and health is beauty, but if you want to have healthy skin, you want to use ingredients that come mostly from the kitchen, that you can understand the ingredients and their benefits, you know what they are, and you can also connect them back to the earth. So that's what we have here. Specifically, I have a new batch of Zobo. Zobo is our hibiscus, clove, and orange. And it smells like nothing else that you ever smelled like. It's a hint of citrus. It has a little bit of clove. It's not too much, not too strong on the clove, but clove has a lot of good benefits for the skin, including antiseptic, anti-acne, all those good things. So you should definitely give it a try. You can find any of those products at greenbodywellness.com. Thank you for shopping. So now let's get back to the 5 secrets to programming the subconscious mind. I need to stop going in and out of the mic, but it's just so hard because I'm an active person. So number 1, planting a seed of will. Will is a undervalued, underseen gift that we have. It's very strong. If you plant a seed of will where I want this is the change that I want to see, and you really feel it, like you have an emotional connection, like you're at the point where you sick of your own shit and you really want this thing to happen, or you really want this change. And the emotional connection to that thought is will. And so you will something because you really, really, really want it, like from the depths of your soul. And so, whatever it is, whether it could be losing weight, it could be starting a business, it could be developing a skill, I want this. And you continue to plant that seed mentally. Best times is before bed, right when you wake up, and before bed, like before you go to sleep, even in your drowsy state. This is something that you will take in and program easier when you're in the least resistant mind state. And that is not in your active brain waves of problem solving, really active, slightly in defensive mode, stressful. You want to be in your surrendered mindset, which in children, up until, is it 7? I think 7 years old, they're in majority theta, imaginative. That's why they always have imaginary friends. They're seeing things, um, and just really enjoying life. But at the same time, they're being programmed. They're in this hypnotic state. And we are in that drowsy state, per se, before we fall asleep. Not before bed, per se, but before we fall asleep and right when you wake up. So I've gotten to a good habit of doing my programming right when I wake up and when I'm sleepy. If you fall asleep to TV, it's you might be hard to catch that perfect time frame. But even then, once you feel yourself like dozing off, that's when you want to start planting those seeds. That's when you maybe want to put on the subconscious programming audio that you want to listen to, or just start visualizing, imagining what you want. And then when you wake up and you're not fully awake, you barely have enough energy to even reach for your phone, you start thinking, imagining. And what I do is like dream myself awake. And then I get motivated as I do wake up and reach those more alert brainwave states. And then once I get up, like I've got up in a more determined, more excited for the day mindset. And I also delay my phone time. I would say an hour, but it really depends on the day, right? Because sometimes you gotta get on there and get to things. So it just depends on what your regular routine is like. But if you delay your scrolling and getting into emails, and before you get into that, just do a bit of programming, a bit of visualizing on what you do want. Ideal states, ideal situations for the day, ideal responses, ideal mood that you want to be in. All right. So that's plant a seed of will. Number 2, focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. And we touched on this earlier. We didn't really touch on it. I really went into it. But when you focus on what you don't want, you're still focusing on what you don't want. When you focus on what you do want, you're focusing on what you do want. It's really that simple. So it's putting your attention on something that you want to grow. You don't want to grow your bad habit or your unsavory habit or your undesirable habit. I want to say good or bad. You don't want to grow that. You want to grow the thing that you want, the ideal, the fantasy, the new goal. You want that. So you put your attention on that. So focus on what you do want. Not, I want to stop this. I want to stop doing this. I want to stop doing that. I'm not going to do this anymore. And some people, some other, um, content creators or even therapists, some people tell you to focus on um, stopping bad habits, making commitments to yourself, saying, I won't do this anymore. And that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. And I understand why it doesn't work for me because I'm still putting emphasis on what I don't want. So try it that way. Number 2 is repetition. Remember, it takes repetition to make a pattern. Pattern becomes a behavior, a habit, a belief. And in order to overwrite these patterns, then you're going to need to also have repetition and frequency. So even when you meditate, you get more benefit from meditating 5 times a day for 1 minute than you would for once a day for 20 minutes. I mean, it sounds weird, right? But really, microdosing meditation really is it's like a superfood for mindfulness. That's what I do. And it can come in so many different forms in ways that you already do it. So I integrate microdosing meditation into my walks with my dog. So Cora gets like 3 walks a day because she's a husky and she needs it, so she won't tear up my stuff. And so I walk her in the morning, afternoon, and then at night. And during our walks, we take pauses because she pulls. So every time she wants to pull, we'll take a pause. I'll take some deep breaths and really just like reach this as still of a point as I can while walking down the street and take some deep breaths. And we'll do that like 3 to 5 times during the walk. So in those activities that I do 3 times a day, I'm also getting micro meditations within that. And that's on top of the morning ones and then, bedtime affirmations. So overall, you get in these little moments of meditative practices instead of trying to burden yourself with like, I got to meditate for an hour a day and then work your way up to that. You can really work your way up to the longer sessions because once you find pleasure in the moments of peace and stillness, you're a lot more motivated to just like stay there as long as you can. And I did that when I first started meditating. There's an agitation that you get. You know what? I'm skipping ahead. Let me hold on. Number 4. Number 4 is to meditate frequently. So I really just kind of combine those together. That's what happens when you review things, your content, and you just go with the flow and you forget your number points. But so you want to hypnotize yourself. You want to have a healthy amount of delusion where you are able to fantasize and feel something as if it's real. And when you meditate, these are the longer sessions too that allow you to get to those deeper sensual states where you can feel through all your senses what's going on. The shorter meditations um, you may not be able to get as in depth right away, but those little short ones will help you be able to focus better. And that's really what it comes down to. Because if you're trying to do a visual meditation and imagine, and your brain can't focus on something for 30 seconds, which is really hard for most people, then those little micro doses are actually going to help you to focus longer once you do sit down and do your more long form meditation. So meditating um, and visualizing, using your imagination and engaging all your senses. All right. And the last one is you want to develop feelings and emotions around it. So when I'm visualizing something that I want, I put myself in that situation and allow all my senses to be engaged. So I can feel myself in that room with those people or that person. I allow my body to actually react to what I'm seeing, what I'm visualizing. And I'll give you an example. If you want to manifest a partner, you want to manifest love in your life, love from someone else, you want to first develop that love within yourself. Become embodiment of love. become an embodiment of that energy. And as you visualize and imagine that person with you, it's so much easier to feel their presence without even having a face. But you feel their presence because you think, what would it feel like to have them next to me, to be held by them, to have them holding my hand, to make love to them? How does that feel? And the deeper you allow yourself to relax into that situation that hasn't happened yet, but it's possible, then you can actually trick your body, your mind into being there, and your body reacts. And by doing more meditation, and specifically the mind body meditation, where you're using your mind and connecting to your body and feeling things, sensing things, that's really going to make your body even more reactive. And a body that's reactive to what you're thinking and sensing means like your mind body connection is getting stronger, and it just strengthens your ability to manifest. So if you can think of somebody, or even like the last time you're with somebody that you really had a good connection with, and your body just like, you know, you get a twitch, or you get a shiver, or you get chills, or your heart fills up with this like fullness, satisfaction, then that means your mind and body connection is strengthening, and you're engaging your heart, which has the strongest electromagnetic charge. It's like you're sending out a beacon. You are now becoming a like an antenna, a receptor. So what is that called? Yeah, an antenna for this frequency of your manifestation. So that it, like, draws to you. And it really works. It does. Like, I've done it several times. Not even several, many times. And it really works. And seeing the results of not even feeling my body, like feeling numb in my body, like feeling it there, it's there, but not being so attached to it, embodying my body, to getting to a point where you just feel really solid and grounded. You feel really here, like all here in the moment. And then when you bring in other people to it, and people that are also present and grounded, then you feel so real. You feel so real, like in the moment, like we're actually here, we're existing, we're doing this. And the more people that you are surrounded by and that you connect to, that are also connected and grounded and present, it just like juicifies life. Like it just, it fills it up. It's like instead of looking at the TV, you are in the scene, you know? You know. And so those are the five. Every time I describe like manifestation and feeling things, I feel it. Like it's a nice thing, it's really, really beautiful to be engaged with life and to feel present in life. Um, the so I want to go back to the motivation. We were talking about pain and pleasure. You can associate pain and pleasure to anything. If you associate pleasure to being present and being in your body versus pain being in your body, then you'll be gravitating easier. You'll gravitate easier towards being present, because now you have that automatic motivator that's like, yeah, like connecting pleasure to like, this feels good. Like, I love being here. Like, I love feeling my body. I love using my voice. I love the way it feels when sound comes out of my throat and goes into my ears from myself. Then you'll be drawn to do it more often versus a fear of speaking, which is the most common fear, actually, public speaking. That fear, you keep on thinking about it, and you imagine yourself on stage, or you imagine yourself saying the wrong thing, and you develop all these negative thoughts around that. The next opportunity you have to speak, your body's reacting to that. Your body's already in stress mode, going crazy. Breath is shallow, like you are messed up because you've continued to repeat those thoughts around the pain of speaking, and now those thoughts have become emotions. So that's another thing to remember, that your thoughts are the foundation of your emotions. So the quality of thoughts that you have, the more repetitive they are, you're literally generating an emotional state. You build your emotional state like Legos. So each thought is a Lego. You place it, all the blue ones together, all the red ones, all the yellow ones. And eventually you've built this emotional state that is made from blocks of all these different thoughts that might not be the exact same thought, but like they resonate together. They create this story for you that tells you that this is the belief, this is true. I believe this. And that is your reality. So remember how that works. And when you catch yourself recycling and repeating stressors and remembering, having memories of stressors and negative things that you don't want, then you got to catch yourself and be like, okay, no, we're not going to build up a whole bad mood right now. We're not going to build up fear. We're going to do something different. And that takes effort. The doing something different part takes effort in the beginning. Okay, so the last thing is the meditation part. I want you guys to try the meditation that I did this morning. It's a live video. It's already there. I did it this morning. And it was a body scan for the most part. And we just worked from like the top down and melted all the tension away, used the breath. So at the end of it, you get a good amount of mindful breathing. So you filled your body up with positive energy. You've released some tension. You've released some negative emotions out of your body, which stores in your tissues and causes tension, inflammation. And you also are practicing being aware of what's happening in your body as you become stressed. And what that is resistance. So the main focus of these meditation this week, I want you to practice on resistance, inner resistance. What does it feel like in your body? What does it feel like in your mind? Because when you start meditating, wherever you are in your meditation journey, it could be a certain day where you just like, it's hard for you to sit down, or it's really hard for you to feel at peace in your mind, and you just feel agitated. So that's resistance. And that's really normal because when you practice stillness, your body really wants to move. It's used to moving, it's used to doing something. And for you to be like, I'm just going to sit here and not do anything, I'm going to disengage. That's really hard to get used to. And you're going to feel that resistance to the point where you just want to get up and you'll make very valid, legitimate excuses to stop the meditation and go. But I want you to, as you continue to practice overcoming that resistance, it could be one time, two time, you can build your way up, but overcoming those little resistances and staying put, staying still, breathing through the resistance and reconnecting with, okay, I'm feeling resistance, but here's the peace. Or let me melt this tension away in this part of my body and reconnect with the stillness. And you just keep doing that over and over, over and over. It gets easier. You start to correct less, and then you start to autocorrect, and then you start to just be in that space a lot easier. And you can apply that in your situations, like in real life, in real time, where you've gotten triggered and you start to, like, you just tense up, you seize up, you're ready to continue thinking thoughts of, I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this, they shouldn't have done this, or they deserve this, and I can't believe this, all that. When you have those conversations in your head, your body is reacting to it. You're creating this inner environment, and you can actually go the other direction, or you can go to neutral, which is even easier, by just like not allowing that tension to stay and build up, and taking charge of your body and choosing peace. You gotta choose peace. Just gotta choose peace. So that's your exercise. That's your exercise this week, is to do that meditation. And if you have another meditation that you prefer that helps you to reconnect with stillness in your body and practice overcoming resistance as you sit still, then do it. But that's the main basis. I'm going to see y'all for the next episode. Okay. Thank you for being here. Remember to check out greenbodywellness.com. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this one, we talked about exchanging your attention or something that's worth it, that's going to give you something back. This is a worthy exchange. So if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. Like, this is for you. All right. Remember to lead with love and find the pleasure in peace. All right. Stop. like, subscribe, share the growth.
If you are not ready for the day, it cannot always be night.